All too often, these 100-day transformations, they result in ridiculous amounts of weight loss and mind-blowing transformation. You go from being obese to shredded single-digit body fat. This shows a realistic transformation, one of which everyone can do. Coach Greg, and in today's video, we're going over Mr. Who's the Boss 100-day transformation. He did a great job. I'm going to point out what he did right. Going to highlight the mistakes he made, what he could change in the future to allow you to learn from Mr. Who's the Boss.
We're sleeping just 4 hours a night, walking an average of just 2,000 steps, drinking 4 cups of caffeinated tea, scoffing food at every possible opportunity, and just generally feeling like a sack of potatoes.
The first thing I'd like to point out is his body fat percentage. That is an estimate, a guess. In reality, it's probably about 5% higher than it actually is. For the most part, people underestimate how much fat they actually have. And trust me, if you're only consuming 44 milligrams of caffeine a day, that is not your problem. One can of Diet Coke alone is going to have more than 44 milligrams. And so I do believe he's consuming a lot more than this. And also notice only 4 hours of sleep a night. That's got to change. And the guy is excessively sedentary, only 2,100 steps a day. That is not enough. Guy needs to move more.
The first 5 days were horrible. I dropped immediately from 3 to 4 cups of tea and coffee a day to 0.
And so I do believe he's underestimating just how much caffeine is in the caffeinated tea that he's drinking. He likely got 11 milligrams from a quick Google search, but remember, Google is not always right. The amount of caffeine in tea varies enormously. And so I do believe the tea that he's having caffeinated gonna have a heck of a lot more than 11 milligrams. Think of it, would he experience dramatic caffeine withdrawals from cutting out 44 milligrams of caffeine a day? Of course not. The average kid in elementary school consumes more caffeine than that. 44 is practically nothing. Most people consume 10 times more than that. In fact, 400 milligrams of caffeine a day is suggested as being a safe dose. And so if you're only at 44, that's not a problem.
While I did think this would be challenging, I had no idea that I'd be practically unable to function without it.
And so imagine, if you're drinking 4 cups of coffee a day and you cut it out suddenly, you're gonna have a lot less energy, a lot less oomph, drive, less dopamine. Coupled with the fact that he's tripled his intensity in the gym and he's running, jogging around, taking way more steps, that is a recipe for disaster. And so my suggestion, make changes gradually. Don't triple your intensity on the first day and don't just start running everywhere. If you're drinking 4 cups of coffee a day, go down to 3, then 2, then 1. There's no reason to make all of these changes all at once.
It just taken my body 5 days to readjust to functioning without that caffeine stimulation. I have had tea since then, but I've never had more than 1 in a day, and it immediately switched from feeling like something I needed to just a bonus.
And so caffeine withdrawal is real. Trust me, I know what it's like. I did a 30-day detox myself. And so it takes time to get used to not having caffeine, but by day 6, he felt fine once again and added in 1 cup a day. And so my suggestion to you is to gradually decrease your caffeine consumption and then just consume it when you need it. I never gave up my coffee. I simply switched from caffeinated to decaf. Very small change. And so these small minor changes, switching from regular Coke to diet, caffeinated to decaf, that can make a significant change in your overall health.
While I was on this high, I also thought, it's been a week, let's do a progress check. I couldn't believe it.
Also went from just over 2,000 steps a day to 8,000. That is going to significantly increase the calories burned, allow him to be in a calorie deficit, which of course is going to translate into a decrease in weight and body fat percentage.
At the point where I decided to make this change, I was eating horribly. Eating junk food had essentially become my way of pushing myself to work harder.
And what about his diet? Well, he went from eating a horrendous diet, candies, junk food, and so on, to eating healthy. And he never cut out everything. He just switched out the portions. He had more vegetables and proteins and less of the chips and cakes and candies and so on. And so it's not about eating perfect, it's about making small changes towards eating better.
I still crave chocolate, I'm human, but then I substituted that for these mini, dark, somewhat healthy little chocolate bars that I could treat myself to.
And so for example, he still eats his chocolate, but rather than having one of those large bars, you know the ones that Allie gets all the time, the 100-gram bars, she eats it in one sitting, he has a small piece of dark chocolate, which of course contains caffeine, and depending on the chocolate that you get, it will have more or less caffeine than other brands.
Still crave the odd fizzy drink, but the best thing I did was to not deprive myself of that. I just substituted my Fanta for soda water mixed with some fresh orange juice.
And so you can see, he's not depriving himself of what he wants. He liked the fuzzy drink, but he switched to soda pop with orange juice. Listen, it's simple as this. If you're drinking regular pop, juices, and so on, and you switch to diet or non-nutritive sweetened beverages, you're going to have a significantly lower calorie diet. And studies do in fact show that people who consume non-nutritive sweetened beverages like Diet Coke, they in fact feel more satiated, lose more weight, and keep it off. And so you might be thinking, oh, those are artificial sweeteners. Yeah, those artificial sweeteners are in fact helping people to lose weight and keep it off.
This challenge really forced me to get creative with my recipes. There was another day where I was really craving pancakes.
Imagine if he had my freaking cookbook. He wouldn't have to spend all day searching for recipes, trying to be creative. And look what creative recipe came with. Low-calorie pancake. Well, let's look at the ingredients and see, is it in fact lowering calories? 1 banana, awesome. 4 whole eggs. 4. That's 300 calories, about 30 grams of fat in the eggs alone. Imagine if he had my cookbook. I would have saved him 200 calories there. 200 fewer calories in his pancakes alone, times 100 days, 20,000 calories. 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. He would have lost 5.7 extra pounds of fat by simply eating Coach Greg's pancakes over this recipe. And that was just in the eggs. What else is in there? Dash of oil, honey. Well, there we have it. More sugar, more fat, more calories. Ground almonds, no problem. Healthy fat, 1 cup of oats. If he actually ate this entire recipe, that's probably 50% of the calories he would need to consume in an entire day, all for breakfast alone. And so I did this calculation on just the egg alone to switch from whole eggs to egg whites. Imagine if he followed the entire recipe, probably saved 500 calories, would have lost 14 extra pounds of fat throughout this transformation. He lost 12 pounds in total, could have lost 14 pounds more by simply switching 1 recipe for breakfast. That is exactly how I made this cookbook. You need the recipes that you have to be delicious, to taste amazing. And so you make these small changes, you switch the recipe, something lower in calories, you eat it for 100 days, guaranteed you're losing weight. Why is it guaranteed? Because if you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. You cannot break the laws of thermodynamics.
When it comes to all this health stuff, you can't control everything. Sometimes a friend will host a meal out. Sometimes you do have to take a work trip away.
And will it always be easy on your weight loss journey? Of course not. You're gonna have parties, traveling, vacations, and so on. And so it's not about being perfect, it's about doing the best you can when you can. If you're at a restaurant, rather than having burger, fries, regular pop, have the burger and the salad with the diet pop. And so if you fall off the wagon for a meal or two, it is perfectly normal. That is okay. It's being consistent with your efforts over time that will result in long-term and continued weight loss success.
By this point, I could actually feel like I was in better shape. I felt lighter, I felt more agile, not to mention that my weight was now sitting at 81 kilos.
And what you notice about this transformation is it's done at a very healthy rate. He's not losing 1 or 2 kilos a week. He's actually losing approximately 0.5% of his body weight each and every week. That is extremely healthy and allows him to have energy throughout the journey. And so the smartest thing about this journey and why it's truly working and why I recommend you watch his video is because he's making small and sustainable changes that he can maintain for the rest of his life. All too often, these 100-day transformations, they result in ridiculous amounts of weight loss and mind-blowing transformation. You go from being obese to shredded single-digit body fat. This shows a realistic transformation, one of which everyone can do. He's slowly losing body fat and building muscle at the same time while eating in a small 400 to 500 calorie daily deficit. And so you can see at day 50, his quality and quantity of sleep, it's gone up tremendously. The step count over 10,000, that is amazing. That is perfect. Going to have a healthy heart, going to improve his quantity, quality of life. The caffeine, it says 11, it's probably over 100. When you factor in the tea that's caffeinated, probably has close to 100 milligrams, not 11 as it's stated on Google. Trust me, Google doesn't know. If you search hard enough, you're going to find 10 different variations. Coupled with the fact that he is consuming dark chocolate, which has caffeine, I'm sure it's closer to 100. But that's far below the USDA's recommendation of 400 milligrams or less. He's at 100. He's improved his quality of sleep from 4 hours to close to 7. This is astounding, going to make an amazing difference in this guy's life.
The fact that I wasn't too hard on myself when I had to be a bit unhealthy meant that I never felt like it was all over or what's the point anymore, which allowed me to just dive back into being more healthy.
Exactly. If you have a cheat meal, you go on vacation, you go off for a little bit, don't worry about it. It's what you do consistently, week after week, month after month, year after year that dictates your overall body composition and your health.
It's satisfying to me knowing that there are multiple mechanisms all fighting to help you at once. Because it's not just the eating well and the intense workouts and the meditation, it's also all the standing I've been doing.
It's not what's better, this versus that. It's do as many things as humanly possible, and they will quickly add up. Small, tiny changes amongst many different things, coupled over weeks, months, and or years, can make all the difference you need. And so whether it's lifting weights, cardio, diet, meditation, standing at your desk all day, which quite literally only burns about 0.15 calories per minute, approximately 9 calories per hour, standing at a desk all day, it's not going to make a significant change. But if you add that to everything you're already doing, and you like it, now that is a recipe for success.
3 months ago, I got myself this standing desk, and I spent an average of 4 hours per day working from it. I could not recommend it more.
And so he likes to stand at his desk. I like to fidget my leg. Subconsciously, my leg likes to do this. I burn a significant amount of calories from my leg shaking up and down, way more than 9 calories per hour. Perhaps I'm burning 50 calories an hour. I'm simply active. My body likes to move. And so in the studies on standing versus walking, which burns more calories, hardly any extra calories are burned. Getting up, stretching, walking to the bathroom every hour, most likely going to burn more calories than standing at your desk.
And you're only reminded at the end of each day when you eventually sit back down and kind of feel like you've already done your workout.
And so here's the problem. He's suggesting you stand at your desk all day, and perhaps you think that you got in your workout. You didn't. He went from walking only 2,100 steps a day to over 10,000. And so what do you think made a bigger difference? Standing at his desk for 4 hours a day, or increasing the time he walks and training harder than last time in the gym? But remember, this is like a shotgun approach. Everything you do helps. But do not think that standing at your desk is going to replace having to work out. It is not. It is in addition to working out. Need to make that clear, because I would hate to see people standing at their desks and saying, oh, I don't need to walk anymore because I stood all day.
Not everything I tried was super effective. Like, one thing I used was the Slender Tone belt that shocks your abs into contracting many times very quickly.
Okay, and let's be honest about the electrode for training your abs. Just do some crunches. Do some core work. You don't need to wear a belt that zaps your abs into being shredded. He does point out it doesn't help you burn fat, but rather helps you tone your abs. But really, what you need to do is actually work out your abs. And so in my opinion, rather than shocking your abs with some machine, just do a couple crunches, improve your diet, do some cardio. That will improve the visibility of your six-pack.
That said, the biggest thing that was actually a game changer was just making sure that I always had a full bottle on the desk with me.
And so another great tip is just to have the water you need to drink in front of you. If you gotta walk 10 feet away, you're not doing it. And to the opposite extent, if the junk food is in reach, you are going to eat it. Why kid yourself? You're gonna use willpower all day, staring at the candy jar that's sitting right in front of your desk and thinking, oh, I won't eat it. If it's away from you, especially if you can't see it, out of sight, out of mind. And so my suggestion, have water in front of you, ready to consume whenever you want. And if it's not water, diet, pop, whatever, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
The Rock knows. And keep that junk food out of sight. Keep it in the pantry.
The way that I was using progressive overload to go up just a little bit in weight or reps each workout meant that by this point, having had so many workouts, I was lifting about 80% more than when I started.
And so only 75 days in, through progressive overload, he's already gotten 80% stronger than he was at the start. To me, that is truly remarkable. Imagine how many more calories he's burning, how much more muscle he's building, all from progressive overload, which is, guess what? Training harder than last time. You start easy, and from week to week, month to month, year to year, you simply go harder. Add more weight, more reps, more volume, better mind-muscle connection. All you need to do is go harder. Once it gets easy to lift a weight, you go harder. Find a way.
Before I went to bed, I would walk at a speed of 5 kilometers an hour at an incline of 5 degrees for 25 minutes. But by the end, it was 6 kilometers an hour at an incline of 7 degrees, and I was going for 30 minutes.
And so these 5 changes, they add up to a lot. 5 kilometers an hour goes up to 6. You increase incline a couple degrees and you go from 25 to 30 minutes. He says it doubled his calories, but we all know the gym trackers are wrong. The Fitbits, the watches, various things to track your calories. It didn't double his calories. It was approximately 50%. I know this, I'm a kinesiologist, but hey, It's a 50% increase. That is a huge difference in calorie burning. And so listen, he's losing weight. And so if he never added anything, he would quite literally burn less calories at the end of the start. But because he's training, he's becoming a better butter burner. Stated this in a number of videos. That means you can burn more calories in the same period of time. And so even if he went from 25 minutes to 20, because he's going at a faster pace up an incline, he quite literally burned more calories in the 20 minutes than he did at the start. And so my recommendation, please progressive overload your cardio. You don't necessarily need to go longer, but if you go faster and up an incline going harder, you will burn more calories in the same length of time, much easier to stay in a calorie deficit.
I realized that with my Nintendo Switch, I could have the tablet section resting on the machine itself, and then just detach the controllers and play my games as I was walking.
And so for me, the key is to finding the cardio that you enjoy. If you hate your cardio, it's gonna feel like an eternity. When he did his meditation for 3 minutes, he said it felt like forever. You don't like it, it's going to feel like an eternity, like time is standing still. If you don't like the cardio and you play video games, or perhaps you watch Coach Greg screaming at you, the time goes by, before you know it, your 15-minute warm-up, it's over.
And that leads us to the results. This is me now. I've never felt this self-assured and confident in my entire life.
And so clearly the guy isn't fat. His abs do in fact exist. You can see the abs. And remember, his body fat was an estimated guess. He used the scale. They're not accurate. And so I would add 5% body fat to all the numbers he suggested. And it's my hopes that he can sustain this, can do this for the rest of his life. What is the good of a transformation if you gain the weight back? And so he's quite literally lost 12 pounds over this time, which is great. It's not a race. Much rather see him lose 12 pounds, keep it off, than double that, 24 pounds, but then regain the weight. And if you want to make it easy, get my friggin' cookbook, the hard copy version, it's available, PDF as well. You get the book, you change one meal a day, lower in calories, higher volume, lots of protein, gonna ensure you get the protein you need, gonna eat in a deficit, build muscle, lose fat at the same time. Also, use code GREG, G-R-E-G, to get 10% off everything. You can go to hdltsubs.com, get all the supplements you need, including the newest product, G-Test. It's half the size of my head. It can help to improve your testosterone levels. We have protein powders, pre-workouts, so much going on. Click the link in the description. Of course, the training books, the Circle Diet book, my likes work, how to lose weight, keep it off. Free training program, become a newsletter subscriber. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Don't forget to watch the bloops. Also follow me on Instagram, Greg Doucette, IFBB Pro. And until next time, I am out.